There comes a moment when the noise of the world grows unbearable, when every thought feels like a chain, every desire like a wound that refuses to heal. We fight to control everything: people, outcomes, memories, and futures that don't belong to us. Yet the harder we cling, the more life slips through our fingers. It's in that collapse, when exhaustion replaces anger and silence replaces noise, that we finally begin to understand. Peace was never about gaining control. It was about surrendering what was never ours to control in the first place. The ancient Stoics understood this truth better than most. Epictetus wrote, "Some things are in our control and some are not. If you confine yourself to the former and detach from the latter, no one will ever compel you or restrain you." That single idea divided the strong from the restless. It still does. We live in an age of constant reaching, always trying to fix, explain, justify, and prove. But there's something profoundly freeing about finally letting the world be what it is. When we stop chasing validation, we meet a deeper kind of quiet. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of understanding. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing not to suffer over what was never yours to begin with. 1. The death of attachment. Everything we hold on to, people, ambitions, possessions, feels like security. But in truth, they are fragile illusions. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "He who needs riches least enjoys riches most." What he meant was that freedom begins the moment our peace no longer depends on external things. When we depend on others to feel whole, we give them the power to shatter us. When we depend on outcomes to feel successful, we live as prisoners of uncertainty. True Stoic strength lies in detachment, not the cold kind that feels nothing, but the wise kind that understands impermanence. Letting go means seeing things as they truly are, temporary, fleeting, and beyond our ultimate control. We learn to say, "This person may leave, this plan may fail, this moment may end, but I will remain unmoved." That's when life changes. That's when we become untouchable. Because when we release the illusion of permanence, we stop fearing loss. And when fear dies, peace begins to live. Modern Stoic researcher Donald Robertson once noted that the Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would imagine loss, failure, and pain, not to invite misery, but to strip it of its power. By accepting that everything we love is on loan from nature, we learn to love without clinging, to live without trembling. 2. The surrender to what is. There is a dark, quiet beauty in surrender. It's the art of standing before chaos and saying, "Do what you must, I will remain." Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and student of philosophy, faced betrayal, war, and death. Yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not resignation. It's power refined by wisdom. When we stop demanding that life be fair, we begin to see that peace isn't something the world gives us. It's something we give ourselves. Letting go is not weakness. It's the ultimate form of courage. It's the strength to release control and trust the natural order of things, what the Stoics called logos, the rational structure of the universe. When we accept that storms will come, we stop begging for calm seas. Instead, we learn how to sail. We develop inner steadiness, a stillness so deep that no external force can disturb it. This is the heart of Stoic peace, not to avoid pain, but to face it without despair, not to chase pleasure, but to rise above its absence. When you stop trying to control the waves, you start to move with them, and that's when life begins to carry you, not where you demand, but where you're meant to go. 3. The freedom beyond control. We've been taught to measure peace by comfort. But the Stoics measured it by control of the self. They believed that the highest freedom is inner freedom, the ability to remain calm amid chaos, grounded amid loss, and clear amid confusion. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is a slave to himself." He wasn't speaking of physical slavery, but of emotional captivity, our tendency to be ruled by desire, pride, and fear. When we let go of control, we stop being slaves to our emotions. We no longer demand that people understand us. We no longer beg the world to treat us gently. We simply act with virtue and let the results be what they are. This detachment isn't emptiness, it's enlightenment. It's the quiet realization that peace was never lost. It was only buried under our need to control. And when you finally let go of expectations, of outcomes, of the illusion that life owes you something, you begin to see reality as it truly is, uncontrollable, unpredictable, yet perfectly balanced. That's when everything changes. You walk lighter, you speak less, you no longer react, you respond, you no longer fight every tide, you trust your strength to swim through it. The old version of you sought power in control. The wiser version now sees power in surrender. 4. The awakening. There's a quiet awakening that happens when we let go. Not an explosion, but a soft internal shift. It's the moment your peace stops depending on the world's mercy. You stop chasing what runs, stop forcing what resists, and stop mourning what has ended. You begin to move through life like a silent observer, calm, detached, yet deeply alive. The Stoics weren't emotionless, they were free. They understood that to let go is not to feel less, it's to feel more clearly without distortion. We are not here to control the universe, we are here to align with it. And in that alignment, everything that once felt heavy begins to fall away. Letting go is not the end, it's the beginning of peace. Because when we finally understand that our peace was never in people, never in possessions, never in outcomes. When we realize it has always lived quietly within us, waiting to be remembered, that's when life changes. That's when we change. 5. The stillness after the fall. There's a strange silence that comes after everything falls apart. The kind of silence that doesn't ask questions, doesn't beg for answers. It simply watches. And in that silence, something sacred awakens. We begin to see that the collapse we feared was never our destruction, it was our purification. The things we lost, the people who left, the plans that died, all of it was carving away the parts of us that clung too tightly to illusion. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Pain was never meant to punish us, it was meant to teach us how to release. Because only what you can let go of can no longer control you. When we lose everything unnecessary, we meet who we truly are. When there is nothing left to cling to, we discover what can never be taken. That is where true Stoic peace lives, not in having more, but in needing less. The world will always tempt us to react, to resist, to chase what's running from us. But the Stoic knows there is greater power in stillness than in struggle. We stop trying to hold on to things not meant for us and start holding on to one thing only, our reason, our inner calm, our control over ourselves. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Be like the rock against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." We are that rock. We are not the storm. We are what remains after it passes. When we stop fighting life and start flowing with it, we discover that nothing can truly harm us. Because peace isn't given to us by the world, it's revealed when we finally stop clinging to it. Letting go is not an act of weakness. It is the moment we remember our strength. The world falls silent not because it has changed, but because we have. And in that silence, we find peace that cannot be broken. If this message spoke to something deep within you, remember, peace begins the moment you stop holding on. Subscribe and walk this path with us, a path of discipline, strength, and unshakable calm. Until next time, remain still, remain strong, and let the world fall silent before your peace.